Our next guest is a very funny comedian and actor who you know from The Carmichael Show and films such as Neighbors and Transformers: The Last Night. His latest special, Rothaniel, is streaming on HBO Max. Let's take a look.
It's odd you can't talk about sex with your parents. Not that anybody really wants to, but you just can't. And you're only here because your parents. Isn't that kind of funny? Your dad and your mom, and you're here. But you gotta, like, have you ever been watching a movie with your parents and like a sex scene came on and you just gotta be like, no, it's not. Things that exist but don't exist. It's things that like are right there hiding in plain sight.
Please welcome back to the show our good friend, Jerrod Carmichael, everybody. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You were, I saw you last Thursday. I stopped by in your dressing room before you hosted SNL. You did a wonderful job. Is it weird to be back in the building?
Thank you. Thank you.
So soon after?
Yeah, I was saying on the elevator, it feels like coming back to your old high school a week after you graduate.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was gonna say hi, but I'm afraid of everyone being like, what is he doing?
Right, they might think, I think he doesn't understand how it works.
Yeah, it's over. It's over, bro.
They have moved on.
I kind of miss it, though. Like, I would go back this week, honestly. Like, because it's like you spend a week and it's a whirlwind and you figure it out. And, you try to figure it out. And it's really fun and exciting. It's like the best group of people. Like, I understand everyone's sincere goodbyes at the end of SNL. Like, people are like, oh, it's like the best week of my life. And you're like, oh, I get it. It's like a lot of like incredible professionals and like brilliant writers and excellent cast. And it was a beautiful experience.
Yeah, and everybody, the goal is to take care of you, the host, and it's really, you're like, it's for even when I went back, I'm like, oh, this is really lovely. Everybody's thinking way more about me now than when I worked here.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that is nice. It's what I imagine like the first week of like foster care feels like. It's all like, spaghetti.
But it's fast, right? So you don't have a lot of time to think about SNL, but you do have a lot of time to think about a special. And this is such a brilliant special.
Thank
and it's
you.
obviously
Thank you.
so personal. And I want to ask, because you've done specials before, and you're going to do this one, because, the headline of this special is you come out as gay in this special.
Yeah.
And when you embark on this special, what is the decision-making process to be like, this is what this one's going to be about?
I couldn't think of anything else. I mean, that was like, I'm so gay. I just couldn't. Like, what else? No, don't clap. I actually. Please. Thank you very much. Please, I have to. I keep saying I'm gay in New York, and people keep clapping. And it was so nice. Yeah. But it's like, all right.
Yeah, because do you realize you're like, oh, you can't bank it when you go somewhere else?
Yeah. Y'all are just building me up, and I can't, like, life doesn't work like that for the rest of it. It's very kind. I'm learning how to receive love, and I actually need that. I joke about it because it's a thing I'm learning now, like in life as a man. And it's definitely, I need it to, like, supplement. I think there's kind of a little bit of a rift with me and my family and like, that kind of core tribe. So like, I've been receiving love from strangers, sexually and non-sexually.
It's nice to have a balance.
But it's been really nice. I had a crazy drive here. I talked to my parents for the first time.
Oh, now I'm fascinated by this because you talk especially about the fact that you did not come out to your mom in the special. You'd come out to her before. But...
Yeah. Well, kinda. I have to renew it. Like if like my mom practices a lot of cognitive dissonance with it, and so it's like, or denial rather, and so I have to come out like every other conversation.
So how did the conversation go?
I don't know. I'm trying to. What's the television version of it? You know, I called in the car. I was nervous. She called. Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday, buddy.
No, thank you. Thank you. I didn't say it. See, that's too much. That's already so much.
Now, I will notice that was like twice as much applause that they gave you for being gay.
Yeah. Maybe it's more my birthday than gay I am. That sentence. Anyway, I was nervous because it was a lot in the special, a lot of things that I was afraid to say to her. And I said it in the special. And so she called, and I was nervous because my mom and my family can be very polite, and we can kind of like smile. I don't know if any of your families are like that, but like just kind of smile through things and not talk about things. There's a lot of elephants in the room. I think my family lives inside an elephant, actually. I think the elephant is the room. And we're great performers. And I was afraid that the call would just be about my birthday, when I feel like there's obviously more pressing matters. And it was an emotional call, and she expressed a lot of love. So did my dad, and they made very strong calls for peace. So it sounds like news about Ukraine, like like we just want peace, son. Like that's what it's just like praying for peace, and you know, and it was almost very nice. It was very dramatic. I was going by billboards of me, as the call was going and like sirens were going off. It was really weird, and it was almost very nice until, you know, my mom said like, you know, these sins are tearing the family apart. And it just speaks to the kind of the core of the problem, you know, that there's this insurmountable mountain that we can't really get over. And it was real dramatic. And then the driver was like, all right, it's time to come out. And then I got out of the car, and now I'm here. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
What's up with y'all, though? Y'all good? Everybody cool, though? I'm all right. I'm good. My bad for bringing this.
You mentioned about not having, in the special, the body of the special, about not having sort of had that breakthrough with your mom. But you did mention near the end of it, you knew she would watch it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really lovely thing to hear, because obviously it seems like you might feel like some emotional limbo, but you also knew she loved you enough she wasn't going to not watch the special. Is that something, is she always engaged with your work like that as a fan?
Yeah, well, that and they're all signed into my HBO Max, so.
Yeah. So it's like continue watching.
It was on Up Next. Yeah, like you know, obviously, just having her son on television, you know, means like I told her I was getting out of the car coming here. It's all kind of odd and surreal because it's playing out like she'll watch this. You know, this is you know, it's all you know.
It's also thematically, it seemed like the way you approached it was there was no way to do this special telling half or 75 or 80% of the truth. And not just your own truth, but a lot of, you know, again, if there's a theme being like secrets, there were other secrets about people in your family. How have they responded to that element of it?
Measured, slowly. I got a really great text from my dad. Just really saying that he wanted to take responsibility for trauma. He apologized for a lot of the chaos. Like, I'm sorry for the chaos. My dad speaks very dramatically. It's nice though. He's responded. I don't think it's things that he's ever said out loud. It's odd. It's like I was I think kind of speaking for my family in many ways, just trying to free myself at least, and hopefully my father. Not to sound like Odysseus, you know, but like just trying to, just they've responded like it's slowly coming in. It's slowly coming in, I think.
I also was fascinated to ask a process question, but you know, I often think of stand-up specials as different tracks on an album, whereas this seemed like one piece of music.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, like, how did you even work it on stage? Because it almost felt like it always had to be a whole. And I should note that, you know, it's an hour like most specials. It went by very quickly for me, even though it was really, you know, intense and far weightier than what you expect from a stand-up special. But because it had this real lyric quality, which I think is both a credit to you and Bo Burnham, who did a beautiful job directing it.
Yeah.
So how did you ever work on it? Or was this a piece of comedy that you didn't work as much as maybe previous specials?
I actually, it's odd. It happened faster than my previous specials in a way. This happened from December, like right before Christmas. I was staying with Bo, and I was actually sad because this dude didn't text me back, and so then I threw myself into work. So thanks, I guess.
Yeah,
And just started going up and just talking about things I hadn't talked about before. And at first, they came out very free associative, but kind of the same rule in my work now that I have in therapy is just like, you know, don't lie. It would be a waste of time. And so it kind of came together quickly, like the narrative and the arc and the story of it just kind of started making sense as I was saying it. But it happened, I went to various cities, Atlanta and San Francisco and Austin, and worked it out, and just me alone on stage. And audiences kind of everywhere kind of would chime in and like react in a way that I'd never felt before as a performer.
Yeah, but there's moments where the audience sort of asks you questions that are very thoughtful. So it's like the opposite of heckling, right?
Yeah.
Because they are actually, in a weird way, I felt like, oh, they're channeling exactly what I'm thinking at this moment, and then you're responding to them. Did that happen everywhere you did it?
Yeah. In most places, it would be just moments where I would get these thoughtful, I felt like I was giving the audiences the truth in all of me. There was always this wall. I used to kind of present this brash persona as a comic, and I had to accept how much I needed the audience, like how important it is. Like I'm asking you to share this with me, and I'm sharing more of myself with audiences, and I feel like they responded in kind. And it was beautiful. It's been very beautiful, and it makes me want to perform more. And I really like it.
It is. It's really something to watch. I also want to say, for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, the payoff at the end completely caught me off guard. I'm so ashamed that I did not see the last joke coming.
Really?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Really?
It
Oh,
made
that's
me
nice.
laugh so hard.
That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Bo like that, I'll tell him.
And it's really something to see. And thank you so much for making time for us today. It's
Thank you
really
for having
great
me. Thank you, guys.
to be with you. You guys, that's Gerard Carmichael, Rothaniel, streaming now on HBO Max.